And we'll go on to Sleeper Spotlight.
Sleeper Spotlight.
All right. In this segment, we introduce a drummer that y'all are sleeping on, and we get Adam's opinions, impressions, and constructive criticism, if any. So first up, we got Carlos Daniel Guevara.
All right. Brother Carlos, first video from him. Here we go.
Yeah.
Man, that was awesome. Super cool. What's the song?
It's a Toto song.
So okay.
It
sounded like old 80s glam rock-ish kind of. It's cool.
So Jeff Porcaro on that one
Gotcha.
originally. So Carlos here has congenital arthrogryposis multiplex.
Okay.
So he has
That's
a condition which affects all of his limbs.
Okay.
I thought this was cool. I have a friend of mine who has a limb indifference.
Okay.
So born without her left arm. And I thought it was important to kind of highlight that something like this can hold someone back, but it is still very possible to get to this skill level with having a condition like this.
Sure.
So.
And first of all, let's talk about his playing, actually. Awesome pocket, right? Like really, really good, really tasteful. And if I'm being totally honest, if I wasn't looking at the video, I would not have assumed at all that this was someone with a disability. So his ability to overcome that and to play, I don't know, just well, right, is super, super impressive, because obviously this guy's facing a totally different set of challenges that, that like drummers like you and I would not.
Correct.
But what I also love about this is like it's all mental. Like, yes, you have to use your body to physically execute the parts, but like the sound that you make these drums make, that comes from your mind, right? It comes from your consciousness, right? And no matter what cards life handed you, or what cards you got dealt, when it comes to like your physical body, mentally, like that's where this expression of rhythm comes from. And so it's cool to see that even at being disadvantaged in this way, it really doesn't matter. Like what you hear in your mind, what he hears in his mind is likely not different from how you and I hear it in our mind. He certainly has a much just a different battle in order to express that. Obviously, I'm sure he's had to make interesting technique adjustments and sort of approach things from his own angles. But it's cool. I love that, like, no matter what you see on the outside, like consciousness, like it's very similar from person to person, and it's cool to see him have worked that out, man. I would love to know what exactly are his specific challenges, right? Like, what does he have to do to play this way? Because how frustrating if you were to look up technique lessons and you're like, well, my wrist doesn't move that way, so I can't play this way, right? Yeah. Man, that was really, really awesome. There's a few drummers with like prominent disabilities that I've seen on mostly Instagram, and dude, it's always awesome, dude. It just what a like big slice of humility pie to be like, what were you working? Like, how hard was your practice session? You know, not that hard, right?
Yeah. So we got another clip from Carlos we can watch here.
All right, clip 2 from Carlos. Clean, man. Those triplets on the hats. paradiddle groove. Man, I mean, definitely like more like speed and like cleanliness than I would expect too, right? Like very articulate, man. It doesn't even look like his hands have the same technique either. Like it looks like his left hand is a bit more curved in, and I see a lot of finger technique, which would make a ton of sense, but a bit more wristy with the right hand. And so that reminds me of like the challenge that comes with playing like traditional grip. Like it's two different techniques that you have to get down. And I would imagine that that's a lot of what he's had to work through is like, here's what I have to do with my left hand and here's what I have to do with my right. But man, the rudiments and the speed makes it that much more impressive, man. Because the first clip, he was pretty much just grooving, but to hear those 6-stroke rolls kind of like slung off the rack tom like that, man, that's awesome. I would love to talk to him and hear about, again, like just his specific challenges. Like what do you have to do that nobody else has to think about except you? It's like these personal burdens that you got to take on. Yeah, man, it's really cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, he actually, that was drums only on him covering a Michael Jackson song.
Oh, okay.
Rock With You. And then fun fact too was doing a deep dive through his Instagram. I found out that 10 years ago when he was touring in China, that he went to the same performing arts center in Beijing that I went to.
Whoa.
So it's funny to see the pictures of that because I'm like, hey, I've been there.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
He played there?
I believe he's from Venezuela originally. He's now based out of Nashville.
Awesome.
And he toured with the Simon Bolivar Symphonic Orchestra 10 years ago and was able to play with them.
Dude, well, shout out Carlos, man. I find these like I mean, different people probably have different responses, but like for me, just deeply inspiring. Like inspiring in the sense of like, what am I complaining about? Like if he can do this, then super cliche, but like so can you, so can I. You know, it's a healthy perspective to have sometimes. So that's inspiring, dude, man. Shout out Carlos. That's awesome.
Shout out Carlos.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, thank you, buddy.
Yeah, man.
And then we will now introduce another drummer for Sleeper Spotlight.
Okay.
And this is Lisa, I'm going to butcher this, Chepkovskaya.
Ooh, Russian, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yes, so here's Lisa.
Okay. First video from Lisa. Man, I really like a lot of her mannerisms that she's using with different patterns from the hat to the snare. I feel like there's a lot of things in there that I personally use. Weird manipulations of the 6-stroke roll, like even doing different variations of right, left up on the hats down to a right hand on the snare. Like, and throwing kick drums around there, like sandwiching it inside of other patterns. But there were a few mannerisms in there that were really cool. Also fast. There were a couple of, the audio was like a little crunchy in this one, but there were some 5-stroke rolls in there that were super, super quick and clean. And it sounds like mega hi-hats. Are these like 16s or something?
They might be.
It sounded like real huge and washy, really cool.
It could just be really dry.
Yeah, I mean, she's clean, man. I mean, that was really cool. A lot of I talked about future sounds last week, but like kind of sort of in that world of like I don't know, like funk displacement sort of stuff. That sort of world, not necessarily future sounds, but yeah, a lot of cool groove ideas in there. I like that a lot.
Sweet.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
All right, let's do the next clip from Lisa.
Oh, yeah.
Little camera slider here, huh? Man, so what I really like is how I almost want to say planned. Like, I don't know if this was a predetermined part or not, or if it was improvised. But I see like a huge level of comfort where it almost didn't quite feel improvised. If it was even that much more impressive. But like ultra clean, like no hesitancy in any of the patterns. Like they just came out like she's played this 1,000 times already. So a really high level of comfort, which makes everything clean, feels super solid. And I love the combination of heavier playing, but like still highly technical, which is obviously in the wheelhouse of Garska, Halpern, even Bouvet is kind of in that category sometimes. But I love that combination because sometimes there's, I don't know, if you go back far enough in metal or just in rock, like you find this simplicity that, just technically it wasn't that hard. Let's go AC/DC, for example. Like it's mostly basic rock beats with some really basic fills. Not a knock on that whatsoever. It's got its own place in musical history for sure. But I don't know, it sort of feels like something about metal drumming being highly technical, using like these jazz funk sort of influences. Something about that still feels like relatively new. And so I like when I see that. It's people combining a lot of the nerdier elements of our instrument with this like more primitive aggression that's been around for a lot longer. So I really liked that blend of those two in here. It was just heavy enough, but also highly technical and really interesting. So that was awesome. Lisa shreds, man. Go follow her.
Yeah, shout out to those massive lights that are in that.
Got some big old lights, yeah.
These are huge. Video production is one skill that you can tack on to yourself as a drummer. And
oh yeah, soft boxes. That's the way to go. They take up some space, but that light looks great, man.
Oh yeah, all right, awesome, cool. Well, thank you, both Carlos and Lisa.
Yeah, give them a follow, man.
Sleeper Spotlight. Get them up to 10,000.
10,000
million followers. They deserve all of your attention and respect.
Thank you for watching this clip of the Orlando Drummer Podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're looking for more content like this, including some of my master classes, lesson packs, interviews with other pro drummers, individual chops and grooves, drumless play-alongs, all sorts of stuff, you can find all of that at the link in the description on orlandodrummer.com. You can try it out for 7 days for free to see if you like it. I think you will.